Okay. Hi, Anton.
Yeah.
Um, so we met here, right? And you're serving in a all Arab unit?
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
want to say a little bit about what your unit, who the people in your unit are?
So, we call the Desert Reconnaissance Battalion or the Bedouin Battalion.
The Bedouin Battalion.
The Bedouin Battalion.
But you're not Bedouin. A lot of you guys aren't Bedouin,
That's right.
right?
There are a lot of just regular Muslims that aren't Bedouins.
Right.
But there are also some Christians like me.
Okay.
In like the logistical platoons, you can find Jews mostly.
Okay.
The medical platoons mostly Jews as well. You can also find many Jews in the unit.
And what's it like serving with other people that speak Arabic in your?
So on missions, if we're on a mission, it's always it's Hebrew.
Only Hebrew.
But when we're just communicating with each other, it's obviously the mother tongue.
Did you grow up with other Arabic speakers that are Muslim as well, or is it sort of new for you to? You grew up in a Christian community.
My town is mostly Christian. It's about 70% Christian, 30% Muslim. So I do have some experience with
Yeah.
I have Muslim friends.
Well, now you do, yeah. You're serving with
Oh
them.
yeah, obviously now, but even before now as well. Like in
Right.
school, many of my friends are Muslim.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you tell me about your background in Israel? How many generations you're here? What your?
So my father is from Bethlehem,
Okay.
which is in the West Bank.
Yeah.
Judean Square. His family is originally Jordanian, but they moved to the West Bank in I think the 1800s. My mother is half Syrian, half Lebanese.
Okay.
For example, my grandmother from my mother's side.
And they're Christians all the way back as well?
All of them,
Okay.
yeah. For example, my grandmother from my mother's side used to live in the Golan before 1967.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did they first relate to Israel at the beginning?
I'm not sure what they thought of it,
Right.
maybe politically at the start. But I can tell you now, I mean, my dad has been a volunteer in the police for more than 10 years.
Okay.
He married my mom, which was Israeli, but he wasn't.
Oh.
But he was still given a chance to come here and live here.
I see.
Yeah. So he always had a positive outlook towards Israel.
Right. And do a lot of people in your community support what you're doing? Do they also join the army, or is it split?
It's usually it's weird. It's usually split between towns, villages.
Okay.
Every town or every family is different. For example, my town it's pretty okay. I mean, many of my neighbors are police, Navy, IDF.
Right.
It's not what.
And have you had a chance to talk about this kind of thing with the people you're serving with? The other?
We don't really have like too deep conversations.
Ideological conversations?
Yeah, no. Everybody tries to stay away from that.
Stay away from that.
It can create some tension.
Tension, you think?
Yeah.
How do you see the population in Israel? Because there's lots of different populations.
Groups.
Yeah, lots of groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that usually creates a lot of tension.
Right.
But maybe I feel like as time goes on, things are starting to get better. People are starting to maybe learn how to live together more.
Right.
Especially after the 7th of October.
Right.
At the start of the war, you had many Arabs say like, "That's what happened, what Hamas did is not okay."
It's not okay.
It's not okay. So you can see that the opinions are changing a bit, and people are understanding that this is the situation.
Yeah. I think even for Jews, it was because we were also very divided, and it was a very rude awakening that we're in this together.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can't be too divided.
Right.
It's something we have to. Yeah.
When you grew up, did you experience prejudice, racism from other Jews, things like this? A little bit.
Listen, it's always there.
Yeah.
If you like, even if it's not like too in your face, too obvious.
Right. It's not overt.
Exactly.
Explicit. Yeah.
Sometimes it's a bit understandable. I mean, for example, in airports,
Right.
a white, an Arab young male
Right.
is usually like,
They ask you a few more questions than normal.
a lot
Yeah.
of questions.
Right.
A lot of whys, what's,
Yeah.
who's, emptying your pockets many times, bags. I understand it, but at the same time, like it's not pleasant.
It's not pleasant.
It's
no.
not pleasant.
Yeah. And do you run into outside of the airport, like with normal everyday Israelis?
No. Usually,
No.
no. I don't recall anything. It's usually just like malls or train stations, bus stations.
Yeah.
Maybe too many looks by security guards.
Right.
That's obviously not an issue when I'm in uniform, but
Right.
when I'm not.
Right.
I'm just like a young Arab male.
A young Arab male. Yeah.
Which sadly is usually the demographic that would do things like there's the bags.
Right.
Stuff.
So you understand why people are more cautious around you.
Absolutely. But it's still it's not pleasant, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully we get to a time in history where that's no longer a concern at all. Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah.
You have something else? No. Do you feel like you have less opportunities because of where you're from, or?
I think it's Arabs definitely have less opportunities.
Right.
I feel like many of the people who joined the IDF, Arab people who joined the IDF, like in this battalion, do it also to like how do you say it, bridge the gap to get more opportunities that you can get otherwise, because you would get different looks.
Right.
But obviously they would see that you served your time in the IDF, so you're more integrated, maybe
more integrated,
more Israeli, which gives you more opportunity.
Also, maybe you feel like you belong more afterwards.
Absolutely, yeah. Because you go through the same things with Jews,
right?
Fellow Israelis.
Right.
I mean, here we are in the same place.
Yeah, exactly. How do you see our time in history here? Do you see it as just like another state in the world, and you're just serving the state that you're living under, or you see it differently?
Personally, I see it differently. I look at it from more of maybe a religious, traditional kind of way. I mean, I'm Christian, and obviously Christianity is built, like a big part of Christianity is Judaism. It's the Torah, the Old Testament.
Right. You're a believer.
I'm not very religious.
Okay.
But I definitely like the aspects of the religion itself and what it teaches.
Okay.
So I feel like as a Christian, it is kind of my duty to be here to protect this land, the people of Israel. It's the Old Testament is a big part of it.
Right.
Like,
right. Do you see how do you see the Arab world, the greater Arab world, outside of Israel? Like, there's a big difference between how you view things, like being here, seeing things for real, and someone who's maybe foreign, who has ideas about what's going on here.
Yeah, well, they're not living it firsthand.
Right.
All they see is usually things they see on Al Jazeera
or Anton.
Yeah, I've said it. Usually, it's the things that they tell them on these medias that are sponsored either by Iran or someone who benefits from.
But so do you see yourself as Palestinian in any way?
No. If we're talking historically,
historically Jews were Palestinian too, right? Yeah.
Well, because the word Palestine, it came from I think it was in 40 AD or something.
Right.
when the Romans beat the Jewish.
Right. Yeah. No one called themselves Palestinians.
Yeah, exactly. It was called Judea. You had the kingdom of Judea, kingdom of Israel.
Right.
King David, 3,000 years ago. I don't consider myself Palestinian.
I
Sometimes
think only under the British mandate did people have passports that said Palestinian.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And Jews had them, and Arabs had them. Everyone had them here.
Everyone
Yeah.
had them, yeah.
So today you see yourself as Israeli, as Arab. Like, how do you identify? Like, what do you attach to your identity?
My identity is an Israeli Christian.
Okay.
I'm Israeli and Christian.
An Arab.
Uh,
You don't like that word?
I don't like that word. No.
Really?
No, no, no.
Why?
No. It's just there's a lot of kind of history, behind that word and Christians and stuff, and I don't feel like I'm ready to adopt that name yet.
Okay.
It's too much. It's too much history.
Too much history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my mother, for example, her father is Lebanese, her mother is Syrian, and the Christians there aren't like fully Arab. They have a lot of Aramean blood,
Okay.
Phoenician.
Right.
It's a
Mix.
It's mixed. We didn't come from Arabia.
Right. Yeah. And but like you spoke at home Arabic.
Obviously, yeah.
Right.
Everyone speaks Arabic.
Arabic.
I guess legally.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the language you spoke at home. And Hebrew. When did you start learning it in school?
In school, but they really don't. They don't teach it well.
They don't teach it well.
No, sadly.
That's a shame. Yeah.
It's a shame. I think it's
Because like if you want to integrate more, right?
Right, but they make it hard. Obviously, they don't need to. But the way they teach, you don't really get to speak the language.
Right.
You get to read, write. That's it. You don't do it. It's the same.
But like
with every language.
you pay the same taxes that we do.
Obviously,
You get the same benefits that we do, the same access to schooling, right? So it's like a public school you're going to, or it's a special school that you're opting out of public school.
Well, we do get access to public schools. Personally, my high school was a private one.
A private one.
But yeah, just a quick numbers, as you mentioned that in Israel, last time I checked, I don't know how it is now in 2024, but last time I checked, Christians were the second most educated.
Oh,
in Israel, they go
to university. Yeah.
So that shows you that we do get. Yeah.
Right. And yeah, I want to know more about how the narratives are like the rest of the world, especially Arabs and Muslims, are sort of forced into a narrative.
Right.
And like your voice isn't heard, my voice isn't heard. Like no one really wants to know what's really happening.
No, because they prefer the more dramatic, Israelis amplified.
Right.
The drama that Al Jazeera broadcasts and stuff.
Right. But like do you see that kind of stuff? Because you're a native Arabic speaker, right? So you obviously get access to all that.
Yeah. I do, and I guess when you see it after like knowing the truth, you're like, that's absurd.
It is absurd.
It's absurd. So you see it differently. But someone who doesn't see our side, only sees that
Someone
side.
who doesn't live here. Someone
Exactly.
who doesn't see life here. Yeah.
Exactly. They believe that's
They see it all in their mind and their imagination. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you feel any relation to Muslim Arabs here? Like, do you feel a connection to them as well?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we still live together. I mean, as I said, many of my friends are. We share a lot of the same traditions.
Right.
Cuisine.
Oh, the culture.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you feel a closer kinship with them than to Jews or similar?
It really depends. I mean, for example, I do feel closer to like a Jew from the north,
Right.
From where I am, to like an Arab from the south, because we don't share as much.
Okay.
But then obviously I also feel more connected to a Muslim from my town than a Jew from the north.
Right.
It really depends. I mean,
And then what about like a Christian Palestinian? Because they exist as well, right?
do you mean like Christians in Judea and Samaria?
Right. Or Christians here in Gaza?
Not that there are many left.
There are not many left. Yeah.
No, sadly.
But do you feel a connection to them as well? Do you see
Yeah.
their media? Do you see how do they see things differently than you?
I don't see their media because I don't think they do have media. I mean, they're not
Okay.
not a big enough population, and they don't have a voice. So,
Okay.
but obviously, I feel connected to them. I mean, my father's family is still there, like in Bethlehem and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So obviously, I feel connected.
And but like so they don't have an Israeli citizenship.
No.
So for them, they would experience something close to what apartheid is because they're paying taxes to the Palestinian Authority, right? They're supposed to get all the benefits from the Palestinian Authority, the schooling from them, right?
Right.
Like they're connected to a different country sort of thing,
System. Yeah.
a different,
Yeah.
different system.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, I can't tell you how life there is. I mean,
Did like the reason why they're connected there is because they left Israel when the 48 war happened?
no.
No?
No. My father's family always like lived there. They came from Jordan, from Wadi
Okay.
Musa, and
They were
settled
always there,
They were
right?
always there.
And so then why weren't they able to get a Israeli citizenship just because of where they were living?
Just because of where they were living. The only reason my dad got one is because he married my
You
mother,
married your mom.
and still he only got it maybe 10 years ago. It's relatively
Yeah.
recent.
Like life there is not as good as it is here, right?
I mean, economically and stuff.
Economically.
Obviously not. No.
Yeah.
Sadly, like they don't have a lot there.
Do you think they would rather be under Israeli rule there?
I think
Yeah.
I think deep down they all do. Probably deep down.
So on the surface, what do they say then? They don't want that?
Um, I guess that is what they say.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like everyone deep down just wants to live and prosper in a country that gives them opportunities.
Well, I mean, I can see how you would say that because like that's what your friends here in your platoon in your company are they're looking for just a good life, like
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel connection to the state of Israel?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was born here.
Right.
It's my country.
You've nowhere else to go. Yeah.
I have nowhere else. I mean, where else? Like
Right.
Egypt, Jordan, Syria.
Syria, Lebanon,
Lebanon.
like your parents. Yeah.
No, this is yeah.
Yeah.
It's my home.
Would you like to feel more accepted, or you already feel accepted?
I already feel accepted. I guess I would only like to feel less different.
Less different.
Sometimes, it's it is what it is. I mean, just the fact of still being an Arab.
Right. Even though you don't like that word, and we won't call you that.
Yeah, but everybody still looks,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just like it's just how the public sees you, I guess. And while that may be getting better, it's still a thing.
It's strange because like after October 7th, I see that like people who were kind of on the fence of where they were standing started joining Israel a lot closer.
Because they saw what happened. They saw what Hamas did. I mean,
Right.
brutality, all of it.
Right. But then at the same time, I don't want to say all Jews, but a number of Jews also felt distant from, like you guys felt closer to us,
And you felt this.
and we felt more distance. We
Yeah.
wanted to push a little bit back because of fear.
Yeah. No, like again, I do understand that side.
Right.
It's it's the same thing with like searching Arab people more, but it's still like it's a tragedy. Like
It is a tragedy. That's right.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I hope it gets better. But I can see why Jews would feel more distinct after the 7th of October.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing that you guys are serving in the army. It's relatively new, right? It's not something that was
And
always like this.
this battalion has been a thing since the 90s.
The 90s.
I think early 90s or late 80s. But even before that, you had there was a unit called the Paul Habe,
Paul Haib?
yeah, which was in 48.
Okay.
Right when Israel got independent.
At the very beginning.
Yeah, a few Arabic tribes.
Arabic tribes were
Bedouin
fighting
tribes.
with Jews.
Yeah, exactly.
Bedouins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They sided with Israel. And they joined the IDF and fought.
Yeah.
Because many of these Bedouin tribes weren't also like treated very well by non-Bedouin.
That's right. Yeah.
So
By non-Bedouin Arabs.
by non-Bedouin Arabs.
Right. Okay.
And they saw that they have a chance here.
They have a chance to do so. Yeah. See, one of the things that it is tragic that there are terrorist attacks from Arab Israelis, and that really hurts your cause.
It does. It does.
It's horrible.
It does.
It's because you could say, okay, yeah, the Palestinians in the West Bank or but when it's like an Israeli Arab that does a terrorist attack
With citizenship. Yeah.
with a citizenship, it's like, who can you trust? Like, how can
Exactly.
like we? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I'm sure Jews would want, obviously, like they would want to live in peace with us and live together.
Right.
But at the same time, it would be hard to do that.
Right. Like, what would
A
be
lot
their
of them,
motivation? Like, they're Israeli Arabs, they're not Palestinians. So what do they think? Why are they doing these? Do you have any insight into that?
I guess the answer is extremism,
Extremism. Yeah.
ideological.
But it was never like Christian Arabs never do terror attacks.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think there was
Ever one?
ever.
Yeah.
I don't think that ever happened.
Right. Yeah.
Not Israeli Christians, anyways. But obviously, I'm aware there's a certain Palestinian resistance group
Christians as well.
that does have a Christian leader, but
Right.
it's not Israeli.
It's not Israeli. Yeah.
I think it's the PFLP, Popular Force
Yeah.
Front.
So, but you do see things getting better over time, and
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, in cities like Haifa,
yeah, Haifa is very
it's
mixed,
yeah,
very integrated,
there's a lot of coexistence.
and there's not many terror attacks there.
No,
Nothing.
no,
Yeah.
no. Usually, they have Jerusalem or sensitive places.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you are you affected by the anti-Semitism sort of thing? Like, are you affected by that? Do you feel that as well?
I guess I'm not Jewish, so it's hard to. It's
But
hard
the
to
anti-Israel is also
usually,
for you,
usually
right?
It is, yeah. Like
Like people who are wanting Antifada, they want it on you as well.
right, because I'm
Right.
Israeli, right?
Right.
That does harm to the country, and in extension, I guess that does harm to me. But if we're talking about just anti-Semitism,
Yeah.
it's hard to feel like directly affected by it.
And do you feel bad about committing genocide in Gaza?
What genocide? What genocide?
Do you feel bad about murdering babies?
Last time I checked, I haven't.
You haven't. Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a blood libel. Yeah.
It's again, it's people who don't live here,
Right.
who
Well, I
have
mean-
never seen war.
These are numbers that you can't really publish because they're not provable. But I mean, internally in the IDF, the combatant to non-combatant ratio that we're being told internally, or like we're sure of internally estimating, is like 4-1, 4 combatants to 1 civilian, which is unheard of. It's usually the opposite: 1 civilian to 4. I mean,
Right.
1 combatant to 4 civilians.
Right.
So,
I mean,
and it's weird. It's still the accusation that
that
there's a genocide.
Listen, I mean, I think it's maybe a bit naive to believe either side. Sometimes you have to go in the middle.
Okay.
Uh,
So what do you believe then?
So you can't take their numbers seriously, but at the same time, I think it's a bit. It's also a bit naive to take the numbers of
The IDF?
Yeah, and I don't say that in a way to criticize the IDF or Israel, because
Right.
there's no uniform.
Right.
But sometimes it's wiser to take a step back and say, both sides benefit from screwing with the numbers a bit.
Right. Well,
so you always
so,
need to find kind of.
so this is why the IDF isn't publishing it, because they can't prove it. So the numbers they're publishing is more like a 1-to-1 thing, because that's what they
Right.
can sort of prove. But internally, these are the estimates.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm more inclined to believe our estimates than
Right. Yeah.
their estimates. honestly.
What about like Muslims? I guess they don't like Christians as well to some degree.
Um, in Israel, it's not so bad.
In Israel, it's not bad.
It's not so bad. No, it's not bad at all.
No.
I mean, I don't have any bad experience with that. But outside, I mean, if you look at Syria, ISIS, Iran, ISIS,
Right.
in Lebanon, the whole civil war, even now, the Shiites aren't very fond of Christians. I guess the only exception would be like Jordan. Um,
Right.
in Egypt as well, Copts keep getting their churches burned.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
another reason why, as a Christian, this is my home. I don't in the Middle East. I don't have there's no one else for me in the Middle East.
Right.
And I don't know if it's still the case in 2024, but at a certain point, the growth of Christians was the highest in Israel. The Middle East was the highest in
Okay.
Israel.
So the growth of Christians was. What's it like now? The growth of Christians.
I'm not sure,
You're not
but
sure?
but at a certain year, maybe 5 years ago, when I read this statistic, it was
Yeah.
Israel
Numbers
was
are
the highest.
numbers are dwindling everywhere for non-Muslims and the rest of the Middle
Yeah,
East.
they all just flee to Europe. They all are kicked.
Yeah.
Except here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just really not obvious that we would have Muslim Arabs serving with us here.
Obviously,
It's
no.
like it's
People outside would not believe it because
and it's not even like
it's appetite.
right. It's not even like a one-off. It's not even
No,
like
we
just
have a
like
whole
a one
battalion.
weirdo. It's
No.
the whole battalion.
We have a whole battalion.
It's the culture. It's
Even outside the battalion, you have many Bedouins in logistics,
in
like
logistics,
driving trucks,
right? Even in kitchens and stuff.
in the kitchens, in
Yeah.
the border, in Magav border
Right.
police. You have some in national service. I mean, my sister did
It
national
feels like
service.
such a gaslight. Like looking at the narrative that the world is saying, it's just it doesn't match reality at all.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
It's
It's usually people who just 14,000 kilometers away
right.
talking.
Yeah.
Talking about the situation here.
Yeah, looking for something to hate, some team
exactly.
to join,
Needing some drama because
tribe to join and
yeah,
have community. Maybe I don't
yeah.
know.
Going
Yeah.
to some protests and shouting some stuff, being a bit aesthetic, sometimes a bit too much.
Yeah. Are you looking to start a family here as well and continue your family line and all this? Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's my
Where do you want to live?
Where do I want to live? Well, I'll never leave the north. I think.
You're not leaving the north?
No, the north
No?
is the Galilee.
The Galilee?
To you. Where are you from?
I'm living in Nitibot now in the south.
In the south.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We hate each other, right? You're in the north, I'm in the south.
Well, you're on the side of Tel Aviv.
Oh,
It's
okay. I agree. Yeah. What about schooling and university or after the army? What are your plans?
For now, I'm still in the IDF. I still have a year and a bit to go.
Okay.
Uh,
And are you going to sign more time or
yeah,
considering it
I finished my service in 8 months. It seems like I'll be signing an extra year.
an extra year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be switching jobs and signing an extra year, it seems. After that, I still haven't. I'm too conflicted. I'm not sure. I have too
Yeah.
many subjects that interest me that I want to.
Well, all your friends here say you're the smartest one here. You're the one who passes the tests and they all fail the test. Yeah.
Sadly, not. This is also another reason why they join sometimes here. Sadly, not many of them have finished school, and they get the chance to finish it here.
Right.
They get to do a course and
And get their GED like
yeah,
their
exactly.
yeah.
Or do their bagrutes, their exams.
Right.
It gives them more opportunities.
Yeah.
The army builds you up.
And do you have any like moral difficulty serving here, or like if you had to shoot someone, do you have a moral difficulty to do that,
Well,
or
if I'm shooting someone, it's not as the West would say a kid or a baby. It's usually,
that's right,
It's a terrorist.
it's a terrorist
So I would not have any information.
or a militant, or yeah,
It's someone who's threatening the country, the people.
Yeah.
My friends.
and I don't want to say too much about what we're doing here. I don't think we're allowed to,
No.
Yeah. but you are protecting the aid truck path a little bit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you feel like that's a good thing to do, or is it hard, or do you think it's wrong to like help get them aid after what they did?
It's a very tough question.
It is a tough question.
Do you remember, for answering, do you remember maybe in, I think it was January, February, there were a lot, of protests, a lot
Right.
on the crossing.
Right.
There were a lot of protests and trying to stop the trucks. It's I feel like if we don't, we'd be in a lot of trouble internationally.
Yeah.
So we do have to. At the same time, some of these people are innocent. It's a really
They're victims.
They're
even
victims.
if they're guilty, they're victims of.
they're victims of
Yeah.
of the system they're upon us.
Of what they're being taught, what they're.
Exactly. I mean, a kid who's born there, he doesn't have a lot of choice. His parents are his parents.
Yeah.
They teach him stuff.
It's insulated. The whole culture is pushing everybody in that direction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like I understand them, but it's not like I. It's like I understand why they go that way.
Yeah. But then, like, getting them aid also from, like, you understand their mentality a little bit, right? So, like, giving them aid is like showing them weakness as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then at the same time,
If you don't show them, yeah.
if you don't show them, the West will be at your doorstep.
Also, yeah, we don't want to be forced to be evil. Like, we don't want to dirty ourselves in order to fight this war.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, this is probably this gives us more time to deal with the problem
Right.
while not being too cruel to the point where, like, if you have
Like, we don't have an obligation to protect the aid trucks either. Like,
no, we don't. But
we have an obligation to let the aid trucks in, but
Yeah.
but then we get accused of starving them. If we don't protect them.
Either way.
Yeah, either way.
Israel is always, criticized either way. Whatever you do.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever had a look at the crossing from the Gaza side?
Okay. Like the one over here?
Yeah. Have you seen how much aid there is?
Yeah, there's tons over there. It just doesn't come in.
It just doesn't come in, and
They don't have enough trucks.
It's not our job to provide them trucks or drivers.
Right.
That's absurd.
But it's like the international community gives so much donations and so much money to, like, liars. Like,
It all
I
just
see,
sits here.
right. But also I see on YouTube, like, people advertising, oh, we were giving food to Gaza, and it's just like somebody lying and getting money in their pocket.
Listen,
It's so ridiculous.
I still see advertisements still today,
Right?
that are like, donate to get my family out of Gaza.
Right.
Where, like,
Who is this group? Like, what?
where are they crossing from?
Right. Yeah. And suckers just give money to them. Yeah.
They do.
Whereas,
a lot of people cashed a lot of money from these people's sufferings.
This is like a big product of a failure of the international community as well. Like, and even right now with the aid trucks, like, the international community could be donating trucks and
to actually bring the aid.
to bring the aid and drivers. And instead of that, I don't know what they're doing. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And then Israel gets accused of stuff.
And Israel is setting up hospitals to and medical facilities. Where are the international medical facilities? Like,
They're not there.
yeah.
Yeah. They're only good at blaming us for the bad, and every
Right.
country does bad things. Like, there's no one that's perfect.
Yeah. But it just feels like they're fighting the wrong fight. Like, they could do so much good, and instead of that, they're not pushing.
Instead of talking about the good, they talk about the bads.
Right. Like, have you seen some of the weapons that are coming out of Gaza? Like, at the very beginning, when every house was filled with weapons.
Right.
Right.
The videos, the pictures.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, all that comes from Egypt, and it's like Egypt really screwed them over by letting so many weapons in.
Yeah, but it's well, what do you mean screw them over?
Like if Egypt never let any weapons in, then the the war would be less harsh on them, and the
Probably won't be a war this big. Yeah,
right,
they wouldn't have been able to pull what they did on the 7th.
right.
Um, I'm not sure why Egypt would do that, but
Money.
money, yeah,
They get a lot of money for
It's-
transporting things
I
through their
guess,
territory.
I guess it's in their interest, of course, but
Yeah.
be always, you know,
But they're really screwing over the people here. Like,
yeah, it's sad. Yeah, no one cares about the people, sadly.
but that's what they say they do.
That's what they. Well, yeah, you usually it's you don't care about the people, but you have to say that you do.
You have to say that you care about them.
Yeah,
So what do they care about? What do they actually care about? What do you think?
like
Take a
from
guess.
us, for example.
Or international community. When they say they care about the Palestinians.
Influence, maybe.
Influence?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Do you have an answer? But there's something.
Yeah.
There's something. There's always.
I mean, they'll always point to the fact that they care, but their actions don't show that they actually care.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you had. If you're talking about those organizations, you had the UNRWA.
Yeah.
And you know you saw the whole thing with UNRWA.
I've seen it for years. Yeah. It was always corrupt. It was always teaching.
corrupt. It was always teaching terrorism.
Did you ever get any of those textbooks?
No.
No.
Did you get what? Did you get?
No. I have a Muslim friend, Israeli Muslim friend,
Ah,
and his son is in like schools, and some of the textbooks have some of that stuff. Yeah.
an UNRWA school.
Not an UNRWA school, but some of the textbooks have like some of that same propaganda.
What?
And like he didn't know because it was in English.
Right.
So he had me print it off for him, and I showed it to him, and he's like, "What?" So he went and he talked to the school and yelled at them. He's like, "How are you doing this?" How are
An Israeli school.
It is an Israeli,
Arab school.
yeah, a Christian school even.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
he's Muslim, but he puts his kid in a Christian school because he says the Christian schools are better.
Do you know where this was?
I think in the north too.
In the north.
Yeah, I'll
That's,
let you talk to him.
That's
You
tragic.
can ask him.
That's tragic.
Yeah,
Yeah. You had a lot of like UNRWA affiliated people that were part of the 7th.
also,
As
Yeah.
revealed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the brainwashing that UNRWA did, like
Yeah. It's a lot of it.
that's what led to the 7th. You can't have the 7th without the brainwashing.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
What do you think about before the 7th, like Gaza and what they were doing before the 7th
What they were doing in terms of like
in
what?
terms of building a state? Because they were given all this land,
Right.
they were given electricity from Israel,
Right. Water.
water from Israel.
Yeah, right.
Like they
Why-
didn't
why-
build their own power plants. They
Yeah.
didn't build their own water plants.
Yeah.
They're just taking.
They had some.
So much international aid per capita,
Mhm.
and
And at the end of the day, they threw it, and now look at it, it's what's happening.
yeah,
They could have had a lot of they could have had a good future. They threw it. I mean, Israel left Gaza in 2005.
Yep. Yep.
2005, and as soon as we left, we got that, and then
I remember the day after we left, they shot rockets. The day after.
yeah,
It's like, here, you get a state, exactly what you wanted.
yeah. You wanted this, we gave it to you.
And rockets, the
Rockets.
day after.
And then every 2 or 3 years you had like
Right.
political conflict.
And then
sometimes
later
big
that
conflict.
year, they had the elections, and 70% voted for Hamas.
And then they had like a small civil war, right?
After they voted for Hamas,
Yeah,
the Civil War,
yeah,
yeah.
the small civil war stuff. Yeah. I just remember it as well. Like when people say Gaza, this is for the 7th. People would say Gaza is besieged.
It's besieged.
In the West, this was
Right.
a thing. But then like they totally forget that Gaza borders Egypt and they only blame Israel for like any of Gaza's
Well,
problems.
yeah, it's besieged, but they were able to get like 10 guns per person.
And they were yeah, exactly. And then electricity as
Very
well,
besieged.
and
Yeah,
and we would buy their vegetables and
right.
like and we would let them eat in. We had crossings. I mean,
Yeah.
that's probably the weakest siege I've ever heard of.
So what I see is they were used as a puppet, like a propaganda tool, it's like they weren't even real people. They were used as an excuse.
What?
Like when Turkey came with the flotilla, you remember
Right.
that?
Yeah.
How old were you when that happened? That was a while ago.
Well, no,
Right.
I don't remember it. I just know about it.
Right.
What was it called? The peace.
Right. They wanted to prove that the border, Israel can't stop them.
Right.
Yeah, the peace
Right, and
flotilla.
then they went down on them with helicopters, right?
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, and they shot at the.
one of the I'm pretty sure she no longer is, but one of the parliament members,
The parliament members.
one of them, something Zelby, she was called. She was
Okay.
part of that flotilla,
Oh, really?
and she was in the parliament.
Yeah, that's another.
Zelby.
Yeah, that's another thing. The Israeli left.
Yeah, the Israel left is oof.
The Israeli
That's
left
a whole-
is helping this conflict to continue. Like they want peace, but they're the ones contributing to the conflict.
I think their minds are they're looking at the wrong direction.
Their hearts are they think they're doing the right thing, but
Right.
they're hurting things way more than. Yeah. Big shame.
It is. Yes.
Yeah, it's like the suffering of the Palestinians is the narrative. Like that's the excuse. That's the. Yeah, it's the way you can blame Israel, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, why do they need to do you think deep down it's all about anti-Semitism? Like why do they need to blame Israel? Why do they need to find stuff to blame Israel for? Is it just deep-rooted anti-Semitism?
It's hard to accept that as an answer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is hard to accept that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do random people in Europe or America need to find constantly some people are so obsessed.
I mean, I really think that it's hard to accept responsibility. It's a lot easier to blame anything else for your failures or for your pain, your struggles, for things going wrong. It's way easier to blame, especially if someone seems like they're doing better than you.
Right. You are kind of jealous of them, and then
Right.
you try to blame them.
And then I think there's a cultural thing, like So I was telling this to you earlier, but you're not Muslim. But I don't think the Quran. Like I read the Quran. The Quran itself isn't anti-Israel. It's not militant. Like, did you see the interviews of the terrorists when they caught them? They asked them, "What did you do?" And they said everything. They said, "Does the Quran let you do that?" And they said, "No." They said, "No,
Yeah.
it's against the Quran." So it's like, why did you do it then? Like, why are they allowing themselves to go against their own religion? And I think it's like a cultural thing. It's not connected to the religion, because we have here Muslims serving in the IDF.
Right. I think it's.
And how do they justify that if it's against the Quran to serve in the IDF or to support Israel?
Exactly. Well, it doesn't say anything about it either. It doesn't say anything about either side, about being the Quran doesn't talk about being a terrorist or about Israel, obviously.
Right.
But I think
I mean, I would say about 70% of the Quran talks about Israel.
Really?
Yeah. The Quran is obsessed with Israel.
Is it?
Not the land,
Well, I haven't-
Jews. Yeah.
Oh.
About 70% talks about our history and all that stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
That's. I'm surprised you've actually read it.
Yeah.
The Quran.
Yeah.
See, not many Jews, I guess, do that. Not many Muslims, I'm sure.
No, yeah, that's right. Not many Muslims read the Quran either.
Yeah. Interesting.
But there are some that know it by heart.
Yeah, there are some who
Right.
have memorized it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying, you have both sides, right? You have that side over there, and this side, and everyone, I guess, like these young men, young terrorists, by doing this, maybe they gain some respect or honor in their own communities. I mean, that's the reason they do it, because young men are all about having the respect of
The culture too. The culture is all about respect and honor as well.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, especially the Arabic culture is all about that.
Right.
So maybe that's a reason for it, even if they know it's not.
So it's like the Quran is telling their culture to do one thing, but their culture is resisting it. Their culture is directing them somewhere else.
Somewhere else, yeah.
So yeah, maybe it's a cultural thing and not a religious thing.
I mean, when a terrorist kills someone and dies, you see how they
celebrate.
They celebrate.
Yeah.
They celebrate because and the young man looks at that and says, "Wow, I gain so much respect if I do this."
Right. And they bring respect to their family. And...
Yeah, exactly. So even if it's not very like even if it's not a religious thing, if it brings them respect and honor on their side, they decide that's a good idea.
Yeah. Well, I know you got some other stuff you got to do, but I really appreciate this. And
it was nice talking to you.
Yeah. Nice talking to you too. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And do you have any last words? Like,
Am Israel Chai.
Am Israel Chai. And yeah, it's nice to have people like you part of our nation, and
it's nice being a part of this nation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Torah itself says we were strangers in Egypt, so be nice to the strangers here. And that's exactly like to the point where you shouldn't feel like a stranger. You should feel like this is your home too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was good.